Alright guys, in this video we are gonna make our API much secure. Till this point anyone can make a post request to our API, anyone can make a new blog to our API. We don't want that. We want us to have control of who gets to create a post request. So what I'm gonna do is first I'm gonna convert these views into class based views, so it will be much more easier to read them. Alright guys, I replaced our decorator based view to class based view. Uh, right here I have separated get request and post request, and here also I have separated get request and our editing request. For example, edit means put request or delete request. Put request means editing our blog post, if we want to change something or add new paragraph or delete a paragraph. So we will create a put request as I explained in the last video, and here's the delete request for deleting the whole post. So I have separated these because these routes are going to be secured. I don't want to secure these routes, because I don't want my user to log into my website to see a post. I just want them to see the post, but I do want uh, to secure these routes because uh, I don't want anyone to create a post request or create a new post on my website, or edit my new post or delete my post. So I think that's clear. And alright, now what I'm going to do is secure our API. So for that, first we will jump to settings.py. Now I'm gonna plug an app here named Rest Framework .auth token. Our authentication system is going to be token based authentication, so that we can provide token and a user can do anything it wants. And now I'm gonna here let's create a new code block here. Rest framework. In this we are gonna type default authentication classes. Here we will type rest framework authentication. Alright, now that's out of the way. Now first let's secure our API first, then we will take care of login and registering routes. So in here I want to import authentication. Remember I said that our application is going to be token authentication based, and now the last thing I want to import is from rest framework dot permissions import is alright. Now first let's secure our post create view. Now all I have to do is authentication classes is equals to token authentication, and now I'm gonna define a permission class that we imported up here. Up here on line 8. This is gonna check that if our user is authenticated or not, if our user has a token or not. Alright, now last thing I want to secure is this view, post edit or delete, post edit view. Now same thing here, I am just copying and pasting it from up here. Alright, now I'm gonna create a new app named users, because I want to separate login and register routes from our main app, so that we can use it in different applications also if we decide to add some more applications in here. Alright, now our app has been created, users. So I'm gonna cd into it. And now I'm not gonna create a new model for a user login or registration. Django takes care of it itself. I'm just using Django based model, which is provided by default. So if you want to create a new model, then go ahead, but for the sake of this tutorial I'm gonna stick to the Django one. Now I'm gonna create a new file, serializers. Alright, now I'm gonna import something. Import rest framework. Now a file has been created. Now I'm gonna import few libraries. So now our libraries have been imported. Now I'm gonna define a new class, register serializer, which is for the user, which will for a new user which want to register. So register _ . Now I'm gonna create a new class meta. So here model will be user, which we imported from Django contrib, Django contrib library, and fields will be same as Django. So ID, username, just like we create a super user, password, email, first name, last name. If you are getting confused, this is the model defined which is provided by Django by default, so that we don't have to create a new model for registration. Now extra keyword argument, I'm going to define extra keyword argument. I'm going to hash this password so that it is secure and we cannot see even in our database where we can see that password, but only a hash part of it will be coded, and I think very hard to decrypt. Now I'm going to define a create function and pass validated argument, data argument. Now our user is going to be user dot object dot create user. This is going to create a new user, and it will validate everything: username, password, and first name, last name. Now our registration serializer has been completed. So the thing which is remaining right now is, I think, views dot our views. Yep. Now let's create a view file, and as usual we have an empty view. So I'm gonna import some libraries first. Alright, I have imported all the libraries I need, and I made an error here from. Alright, now I have imported all the libraries I want. Now as we did in the past, we are going to create a class based view, API view. So let's do that. Oh, I forgot to import API view from. Alright, now let's create our API view. Now register, it is going to be post request because we are submitting data to a database. So it's not going to be get, put or delete, it's going to be post. So alright, now I'm going to define serializer variable. Data is equal to request dot data. It's going to be the same as we did in the last API view, or our blog API view. So I'm going to fast forward it from here. Now The main our register API is complete. API code block is completed. It's just standard stuff. It's just submitting our data to our database. So and now let's create our login API view. So class, I'm gonna define a class login API, and I'm gonna pass it API view in it. So I'm going to define post method. It is also going to be post method because we are submitting something to our database or server. Request. So first I'm going to define variable name username, which will get the data of our user. Alright, now this password variable is going to be going to get the data of our going to get password of our user. Alright, now we are going to check if username or password is filled. So if none of them is filled, then we can send the error response. So let's create that. So if username is none or password is none, none means empty, then return this response, which is error, please provide both username and password. You can write anything. I don't know, it just came in my head. Alright, now okay, status, we have to pass the status to .http 400 byte request, so that it will let the browser know that it is not the correct request and return this status for our error, for our request, sorry. Now we are going to define a variable name user, which will authenticate our data that we have submitted to the data, and which will authenticate our data that we have submitted, and password is going to be password only. So now we are going to check if it is a user or not. So if not user, then return response, in which this will return error that invalid credentials or user does not exist. No, I think invalid credentials will be fine. Okay, now let's return a status with it. So status http 404 not found. So it will return the status that our user is not found. Now if our user passes all the tests, then we are going to give the user the token that it had, uh, give a token to the user so that our user can use it to make requests. So now let's define variable token is equal to token dot objects dot get or create. I'm giving this get or create parameter because if our user is new, so that if our user passes all the tests but it does not have any token pre-assigned to it, which will happen because we are not assigning any token here in our register view. So then it will get if user already have an token, then it will get that token from the database, or if the user does not have token, then it will create a new token for our user. So I think that is pretty secure API. I don't know, return response, it will return token. So token dot key, status is going to be, I think, okay, so 200, yeah, status of 200, status dot http 200 Okay. Alright. So now our API has been created. Now let's make the migrations or save the changes that we have created. Oh, first we have to plug our user app to our main app. So I'm just gonna copy paste it, user.app.user config. Alright, now our user has been plugged in. So let's define URLs for our app. I forgot to do that. So I'm gonna create a new file, urls.py. Alright, now I'm gonna get that out of the way. So register API and login API. Alright, now let's define our URL patterns. The path is going to be register and it's going to use register API as you. And now I remember that I forgot to change the URLs in a blog app too, so I will do that in a second after this. So path login is going to be login API dot as view. Okay, now let's change the URLs in our blog app. Why is that showing error? I don't know. I think it's fine. Okay, now let's change our URLs in here too. So I'm gonna go in my blog urls.py file. Here I'm gonna import from dot views import post list view, post create view, post detail view, and post edit view. Alright, or I can just import it all at once. Yeah, this is the correct way I think. So views dot post list dot as view. Okay, now I'm gonna define a new route to create our post. So blog create and views, here views dot we are going to use post create view dot as view. Now I'm gonna define another path for blog and god damn it. Now I'm gonna create a new route for a detailed view. So it will be same as before. Blog. Now remember, you might remember primary key, which is ID. Here we are getting our posts by their ID. So for example, their ID is primary key. For example, I pass primary key as 1, so it will get the post which has ID of 1. So views dot post detail as view. Alright, now last route will be our edit route. So here same as before, primary we are passing primary key and one thing, edit dot post edit dot as view. Alright, Alright, now I think everything is fine now, so let's make some migrations. um, Alright, one last thing, let's import our user URLs into our main app. So python path, it will include user.urls. Alright, this was the last one, so let's try to make migrations again. Now what? Okay, I forgot to insert comma. Where? In blog urls.py. Okay, that's why it was showing this error. Now invalid syntax serializers.py. I forgot to insert comma here. Let's try it again. Alright, migrate. Okay, I think everything is done, so let's try to run our server. Python manage.py run server. Okay, it's running. Blog. Okay, we are getting a list, so let's test our API in Postman. I'm gonna open up Postman. Oh, okay, we are getting all of our posts. Now let's try to create a post. Remember that this is I think we should register a new user first. Yeah, I think we should do that first. So URLs. So I'm gonna get all of these out of the way. So what we want here is first user name. Let me make this bigger. Okay, first username, so it is going to be MSR. Alright, now password is going to be now password is we can make MSR MS. Now password can be MSR 3040 new channel at the 3040 at 340 at. Now password is going to be can be anything. I'm gonna put 340 at. And now email. So now first name, let's blah blah, last name. Okay, so let's try it. Okay, it's successful. Now you can see that our data has been posted. Now if we go to our admin panel in Django, then if you go to users here, MSR, a new user has been created. Invalid password format for hashing algorithm. We can take care of this in some later video, but I don't think now it is a big issue. So let's just forget that. And Now if I try to post this again, then it will return a user with that username already exists. Okay, so our register route is working. Now let's log in to get our token so that we can make a post request to our API for creating a new blog. Now I'm gonna log in. So I don't need all of this for login. I just need my password. Uh, Invalid credentials. Okay. I have a feeling that our password is not submitted to our API. Yes. Alright, I forgot to return user here in a serializer path. So let's try it again. Let's try to register a new user. Or just delete. Let's just delete this one. Alright, I have deleted that user that we created. Now let's try to create this new user again. Okay. A user has been created. Now let's try to log in again. Again invalid credentials. What the hell is happening? If we take a look at our server, then it is saying that login route not found. So let's check our login route. What the hell is wrong, man? I think it's a password issue. So let's try to register a new user and see. So let's put a long and lengthy password. So let's put this one. Docs. Uh, John is bad S 072001. Alright, now let's try to do that again. Let's create a new name. Anything. Alright, now let's check if our password is correct. Invalid password format again. I think we should check our serializer here. It is showing that our user is not present. Let's try to log in with this user. Invalid credentials again. I think we should check our view, because I don't think that this is a problem. The objects. So if we remove password from here, then invalid credentials. I think our password is not being saved here. Yep. What is wrong, man? If we try to remove, Alright guys, I have solved our problem. It was just this indentation error. So, and an argument that I have assigned there. So everything is working fine. I'm gonna put the link to the GitHub. It's been hours. I've been trying to debug this, so I don't know where I left the recording. So just take a look. Just match the code on GitHub, and you will be fine. So here, when I registered, uh, uh, let's try to register again with a new name, and let's delete other users. Yes, I'm sure. Okay, let's create a new user. So I'm gonna name it register, and let's see what we want is username, password, first name, last name. Okay, username Mehul Singh, and let's do it MSR. Password I'm gonna keep Cyberpunk is released in 2020, and first name is I forgot to insert comma. Okay, and last name blah blah. Let's okay. Now our password is not hashed. Why the would that happen to us? Okay. Oh, I indented that. Sorry. To show you guys, I indented that, and okay. Here's how you can tell the difference. Here when we registered, our password was same as we entered. It should be hashed. Now if we register correctly, then yep, it's a hashed password and you cannot read it. Neither can I, neither can anyone, I think. Alright, now let's log in. I'm gonna log in. Okay, now we received our token. Okay, so I'm gonna copy it. Now let's make our post request, which means let's create a new blog post. Okay, so I'm just gonna take a quick look of how many fields I have to enter. So where was I? Okay, I have to add title, description, content, category. Okay, title after login test. Description, content, category. Description. Oops. Yep. Content. Anything. And category can be Linux. Okay, now let's blog create. Detail authentication credentials were not provided. Okay, so now to be authenticated, we have to pass a header, which is authorization header. So authorization, and here in the value we are going to paste a token value, this was a token value. So now if I post it now, what the fuck? I think it was a super user problem. So I have, from the admin page only, I have created a super user. So let's try that again. And nope. I'm sorry, I put the wrong token value. So I have to add this token. Okay, now our blog has been posted. So alright, that's it for now. Now the only thing left is our front end. So I will mm, release try to release 2 videos per week. So peace.